Alright, we are here in a league, well, in ranked. This is going to be the new format. Mondays we'll have ranked showcasing decks, and then we'll move into using Fridays as a competitive thing for draft or league things, depending on arena what I want to play. We keep a questionably slow hand here, but as long as this isn't some super fast aggro deck, and I see Boros and I'm like, oh dear. Alright, this is Boros Convoke. So, we are in trouble here. We need to get up to 5 mana ASAP. So, they have a Novice Inspector, makes a clue. They're going to sack the clue to that Gleeful Demolition, which gives them, into a Knight Errant, which draws 2 more cards. This is such a good deck, by the way. It's a very good budget option I'm going to do later if people are playing it. We'll play the Ancient Cornucopia here. Now, provided... So there's the Cosmos Xenagort, and they had the Ornithopter, which literally puts us down to 2, so we literally cannot survive. They had the perfect thing there with the 0. If we had been able to have 1 more life, we would have been able to board wipe. So, yeah. Moral of the story here, we need a very interactive hand. So Fatal Pushes come in, Valky's out, and some of our slower pieces are out. So you might see we're taking a few of our threats out here. The big thing with Convoke is just keep the board clear. It's kind of like a tribal deck. They need to use Convoke to get stuff. So, a Vanishing Verse into a K command with us leading on the play is perfect. So, using this, I'm going to play a land sequence that will allow me to play a Vanishing Verse on 2 to slow him down. So, yep, first things first, I'm going to Vanishing Verse this. Fortunately, we don't have red for this K command, so we might have to let them develop a... Oh, they do have a Gleeful Demolition into an Ornithopter, into a Venerated Loxodon, which is insane. So we'll Vanishing Verse that. Lucky top deck there. We are still taking 7 here, so we are on to 12. There's a Fraben Inspector, their last land. That Culling Ritual is huge. So even the video plumps out here. Wow, what happened to the recording there? It went crazy. Yep, we'll put Urine into hand and cycle this land. We find a Clarion, which is our second board wipe, which is perfect. So there's a Fraben Inspector. They crack it to draw a card. Alright, so I'm going to K command, make them discard, kill the Fraben Inspector. As I said, we're just going to keep things down. There's a Sheltered by Ghost. Alright, so we're going to play Supreme. Again, this is a deck that primarily has monocolored interaction. Their main form of removal is Sheltered by Ghost, so we keep that as clear as possible. Let's Clarion here, because we can give lifelink to Supreme and get 5 life here. That will put them up to 12, well, put 12-12. We'll play this Wandering Mind to dig, finding a Bring to Light to get us a Niv for the next turn. And our opponent sees that, yeah. So, Convoke is a deck where they will explode, but you really need, like, Clarion, Culling Ritual. I've also seen the Pest Control card from the Big Skull be very good against them as well. They don't really have an alternate sideboard plan, I believe. I think their best option is to just go fast, basically. This is like a typical... I don't want to say typical. It's a standard aggro deck. If we keep it down, they'll be in an okay spot. So we're going to keep this because we have a turn 1 Fatal Push, which is good for us. Take care of the Vidalcan Epicure. On 2 they play Fraben into a second Fraben. We drew the Culling Ritual again, which is insanity. So there's the Cosmo Grand Zenith. So immediately Vanishing Verse that. That is such a good card in the deck. So we play the Sparta's Headquarters here. They play a Venerated Loxodon. So we play our land here. And we're going to Culling Ritual. Just clear out their entire board. We'll grab the Yorion and just pass it back. We can then go Bring to Light here into Niv Mizzet. So we'll put this blue land down. So we'll go for the Niv. And I do believe a reload here is better than a rebuy. So if they have a Sheltered, we can literally just deal with stuff here, because we can Bring to Light for the Supreme Verdict, get another Niv at trigger. Oh, they have Destroy Evil, so they do have sideboard options. Interesting. Alright, there's a Zenith. So since they've cleared the way, I'm just going to use this Bring to Light to grab the Supreme Verdict, clear the board. Play a land tapped. We can Crevero Mind Bitten, grab another card, but our opponent is out of options, so good game, sir. Alright, we are up against the old, well, I wouldn't say adversary of the format, it's currently not the major one. Double Vanishing Verse is a good cover for most decks in the format. Seeing Spybluff Canal definitely leads me towards either Izzet Cauldron, which has been making some waves now. Oh, there's a cutter, so immediately Vanishing Verse that. We could have deployed the Cornucopia here, but we better not leave him. Yep, there's a cutter again. They attack in for 2. So we'll shock in here to get down an Ancient Cornucopia and Vanishing Verse the cutter. Puts us on 18. We have a Bring to Light next turn. Hopefully they spend the turn pumping the Prowess Monk by casting a bunch of spells, leaving their mana clear so we can just get a Niv and get a bunch of options. Picklock Prankster mills their 3rd cutter. So here's the sleight of hands. And yeah, this is me saying, wow, unbelievable. They drew the 3rd cutter. And they have a Floodmore to bounce back the Ancient Cornucopia. Well, with that in mind, I'm actually going to Bring to Light here, and I'm going to grab Supreme here, because, as I said before, against this deck, you want the Supreme, because he literally can't be targeted by any of their removal. Prophetic Memory, though, is very scary. There's a Consider. So this Prowess token is going to become huge very quickly. Our opponent's looking at their card. There it is, a Lightning Axe, proving it can't kill the Supreme. So they're desperately just trying to dig here. They Treasure Cruise. Drawing free. They've definitely got to have drawn a land here. Yep, there's a land. Do they have another Treasure Cruise? No, they torch the tower. Right, they make it a 10-10. I'm okay taking 10 here because now we can play the Cornucopia, play the land, jumpstart the Vanishing Verse to get back, gain 2 life. I'm going to hold back in case I get some hasty Phoenixes down. But like I said, ooh, Ding in the Ice. So this is an old school version of this deck. Well, actually, no. Ding in the Ice is not really an old school version. It's one that's been around for a while. But yeah, we have to Vanishing Verse that, because like I said, we can't let that flip and bounce on Niv. So we'll Ancient Cornucopia, but we have enough mana now to jumpstart the Niv. And I think we just grab a reload here, because we need more cards in our hand. Reload! Well, we only get 3 cards, but those are technically 6 spells, because with the jumpstart ability we can cast them twice. And we can basically kill anything they play and try to stick a bunch of counters on here. Between the Assassin's Trophy and the Tyrant Scorn, even the Tyrant Scorn bouncing a Phoenix when they try to put counters on it will be fine. Right, they're going for impulses here to kill Niv. Treasure Cruising again. See, this is the... Oh, another Cornucopia. Yeah, definitely. Gonna take that. Attack in, put him down at 8. So they are dead now to a Helix and a Supreme Attack, so they've got to commit a blocker here. I'm going to Assassin's Trophy, gain 4 life here, and kill their Prophetic Memory. That will definitely help because there's definitely going to be a cutter token, because even if I allowed that to enter, me just doing anything there would have stopped it. So end step, I'm going to Tyrant Scorn here, try to kill the Picklock Prankster, which we do. Okay, command's great here. So let's attack in. They did have the Otawara. So in response to that, I'm going to destroy the cutter and do 2 damage. So I have no creatures that can attack. But I'm going to wait on this because now they bounce Niv. I can just replay it and gain 10 life going up to 24. So there's an Arclight Phoenix. My guess is, yep, second Arclight Phoenix. So they're holding these for blockers. Well, I'm just going to return Niv and kill one of the Phoenixes here, discarding the Assassin's Trophy. Opponents checking the colours to make sure that we can cast the Niv Mizzet, which we definitely can. They're also considering how they could stay alive here, but we're just going to use Niv here to gain 2 more rounds of 10 life, get a reload. And we get a full spread here. A biotech also sorts out a lot of stuff. Okay. We're at 34 life, so I'm not in danger here of dying to anything crazy. But we gotta play it safe. There's a sleight of hand. They're definitely gonna bring back their phoenixes. There's a torch to tower. Into a lightning axe, so they're out of cards now. And they got 3 potential blockers. Well, 1 potential blocker, because they decided just to go in here. I'm going to gain life, and I'm going to use the biotech here, combined with the Tyrant Scorn and the Helix to kill the opponent. Yeah, they should have held back another Phoenix as a blocker. They kind of overcommitted, but they had to put pressure on. We were at nearly 40 life. So, Scribble Claws and the... Yep, all of the stuff we've got in here for Phoenix. We need to reassess the sideboard. So this is going to be the last ranked video using this version of the deck. Well, not really, actually, sorry. I'm waiting for Avatar to come out. I might do it before Avatar. I'm going to rebuild a more fun version of the deck, which was 60 cards, Biotech Visionary, Widespread Thievery, and Lessons. Some of my favourite mechanics from recent sets. It's going to be worse, but I want these videos to more showcase some of the stuff you can play against in Pioneer. Okay, mulligan down to 5, which is pretty rough. We don't have blue, but we can very easily here get this Scribble Claw down. This will at least slow their graveyard down a pinch. A pinch. But with the Artist Talent, we're not really going to get much there. There's a Corey Steel Cutter. End step, we just tap this to make them sacrifice, kind of like an old school Relic of Legends. Gonna shock in. Vanishing Verse, let's get rid of the cutter so they don't have anything too crazy. We need blue mana. There's a sleight of hand. Discarding a card. I'm gonna just force them to get rid of that now. I have 1 mana up here to pop it to try and get rid of a Phoenix if they try to send that in the graveyard. There's an opt. Discarding a land. There's another opt. Discarding a Phoenix. So, with that in mind, before combat, there's a Tormod's Crypt. Before that combat, I'm going to exile that Phoenix with the Scribble Claws to draw a card. Of course, we draw another card with blue in it, which is very funny to me. Right, this Helix will have to do work here. Right, there's a Prophetic Memory. Discarding another land. There's another Artist Talent. We draw another. I'm considering using this as a cycle because we just have so much blue mana right now. I definitely just need an option to sort this out. There's the big Treasure Cruise. Discarding a Phoenix 1. Okay, draws 3. Thing in the ice. I'm just going to concede here. We didn't have blue mana and we were really far behind. The Prophetic Memory was going to pump everything up. So we're just going to run it back here. I probably could have fought it out there, but really I wanted to play it safe. So our opponent hadn't seen all of our sideboard options. So knowing that we had a game free, I think the best option was drop it, go into game free and see if we can get potentially the Deafening Silence. Because apart from the Into the Floodmoor, they will have probably brought in their sideboard of Braids to take out our artifacts. More so now that they've seen that we have Scribble Claws. They probably think that's our only graveyard hate. Okay, so with this in mind, I'm going to hold up a veto here because I want to counter either an Artist Talent or Prophetic Memory. They brought in a lot of graveyard hate, or a Steel Cutter. That's a good target as well. Okay, we are not drawing lands. There's another Tormod's Crypt. So we're just going to play the Scribble Claws here. Pop it to make them get rid of a card. We'll thin out their deck as much as we can here to make sure that they don't get as much stuff for Delve as possible. There's another land, but we desperately now need green. So our deck has given us blue this time, but no green. Also, it appears that our opponent might have literally drawn all their sideboard cards and none of their other options. So I'm going to use a Molten Collapse here just to get rid of it. Make him pop it now to pop our graveyard. There's a thing in the ice, so we're just going to Tyrant Scorn that immediately. There's another land which has green, thank heavens. Right, they definitely have something here, so I'm going to Ancient Cornucopia, gain 2 life. As I said, they've brought in their braids, so we whiff on the wide Wandering Mind. Unreal. Unbelievable. There's a Fiery Impulse. I'm just going to go for the Bring to Light here and see what happens. So we'll grab Supreme with its hexproof and monocolored. It resolves and the opponent concedes. Yeah, it is a pretty good hate card versus Phoenix, to be fair. Alright, we have our final game here, and we're against 5-color humans, and this deck kicked my ass. So, I'm not exaggerating, this was a really cool deck. So I thought originally that it was a humans list, maybe just blue-white, using Kyphion here. So they play Thalia's Lieutenant, so I'm thinking, okay, blue-white humans, or potentially blue-white soldiers, so let's get the Ancient Cornucopia down, try to gain some life here. Opponent gets free. Plays Dahlia, the Dauntless General, which is terrifying because it actually is really good against us because it gives hexproof or indestructible to their various creatures. So we're going to just Helix here, force them to pop the Jinara, whatever her name is. And I'm like, cool, I've dealt with the problem. Except I haven't, because our opponent is running the Extraction Specialist, which with Jinra on the side is insane. So they get now to exile a graveyard again, hit us down to 3. Kyphion transforms. So I'm like, okay, so definitely need to Niv Mizzet here. So I'm just going to Niv, gain 5 life.
Reload.
We find a few good options here. Now the big thing is, if Gideon turns into a human, and they have a second lieutenant, so the maths just doesn't add up, we are just dead no matter how we block. So yeah, we got our butt kicked there. That was more on me for not having interaction, but at the same time it was really cool I started seeing more of these interactions. This kind of felt like a 5-color humans list. Maybe it wasn't 5, but it definitely was a cool list. So we bring in more ways to disrupt them, like fatal pushes. The one thing I wanted to show was actually some of those cool interactions, like the human that gives indestructible and hexproof, and Extraction Specialist's ability to bring it back. This hand is just a handful of removal, so I'm going to 100% keep it. Now we just pass it. There's a Blood-Soaked Champion. And again, we don't have blue. Well, we don't have red, which makes me go... Oh wait, we do have red, sorry. We don't have red and blue on different lands, which is something I'm noticing now is quite problematic. There's a Thraben Inspector. There's the blue land, so let's play the Wandering Mind. Find the Deafening Clarion. That'll force him to play around stuff. There's an Elite Spellbinder, which is problematic, because that's going to force us to have to pay extra mana for this. I will trade, get rid of one of their creatures. I'll play a land here, and then I'm basically going to make him discard, kill the binder. I'm just trying to choke him on resources if I can. There's the Extraction Specialist. Thankfully, though, it can't bring back the Spellbinder. Play the land, and I play the Wandering Mind here, which was a mistake. I should have definitely held back. I should have gone for Clarion immediately to just force the issue and force them to actually have removal. So what they're doing now is they're trying to figure out if they can make a board big enough to survive the Clarion, which double Lieutenant would do it. But what I wanted to show here was this card, Siegebreaker. Such a good card. So in response, I Assassin's Trophy to get rid of the Siegebreaker, because I don't want them to have another huge board. I'm going to block with the 4 here, pass back. I'm going to play a land tapped. I'm going to Verdict. So their board is clear now, and I'm thinking, that's great. I'm pretty much sorted here. There's nothing really scary they can do. They draw a card, so I'm like, this is good. We're in a pretty solid state here. They draw another card. They play a Thalia. So my response is, I've got to kill that to stop them getting anything crazy. Then they play the card Synergy here that just destroys me. And I'm going to show you why this was so sick. Thalia's Lieutenant onto an empty board, and I'm like, this is terrible. Mardu Siegebreaker, putting a Thalia's Lieutenant underneath it, so that now when they attack, they make attacked copying Thalia's Lieutenant, which will constantly pump the Mardu Siegebreaker. And if they had more creatures, it would destroy them all. Good game, sir.